Do you feel that Kelownians are listening?
Yeah.
How can you tell?
We hear it on the streets. Even though the local media doesn't cover it, we're one of the hottest topics that there is on a street level basis. I'm starting to get stopped by people in the streets who see what we're doing and support us. And it's not just young people who are engaged with this who are on Facebook. It's senior citizens now.
Yeah, it's the older demographic as well.
Yeah.
What are you hearing from the senior citizens?
They're really listening to the issues. They're very well informed. Senior citizens see the grocery prices double. They know that that's a severe effect on their limited income. Your single income or one income or a two income fixed income family.
Yes.
You see the grocery prices double. The corporations report huge amounts of profits. Where does that leave us? We're the people who are speaking for those who can't speak for themselves. And they're listening to what we have to say. And I've engaged more people over the age of 55 in the last 6 weeks than under the age of 35. And I'm keeping track. I kind of keep track of these things. I watch who I'm listening. And when you come out to the rallies, the original one on October 15th, the average age there was at least 45.
Wow.
For sure. Now they always seem to focus on the younger people or the people who aren't that well spoken. For some reason, they seem to get all of the camera time. But it was senior citizens who were really listening to what we have to say.
Do you feel that the media is biased against you?
Not biased against me. The media is conservative based. Therefore, they have a conservative viewpoint. They only understand that they are maintaining a status quo that's not maintainable. They're gripping onto their conservative dogma when they're reporting things, and that's what we're seeing. Sorry, I don't mean to get too involved with that answer, but it's exactly where we're coming from. If you were raised with the concept that a conservative mentality represented specific items on the list, you won't report on those things that lay outside the conservative mentality with an unbiased point of view. So I'll give you a quick example of that. The concept of having long hair, or not showering, or wearing a suit and tie. Very much we've seen in corporate media is that they judge the messenger and not the message. They judge them as not having jobs, or as not having focus, or not being maintainers of the current country that we're living in. That's what I've seen consistently by the reporters. Okay, that they're judging that. But the other side too is that the corporate media has said that the message is confusing when it's not.
So you see them launching ad hominem attacks against the movement rather than focusing on the content.
Okay, what we're looking at is, well, these young people, why don't they get a job? We have jobs. Actually, here at Kelowna, we all have jobs. We're working really hard on what's going on. So most of us can only attend to this part-time. I'm working full-time. That judgment, that superficial judgment, is the most frustrating part. I always make the point, in current news right now, they wouldn't listen to Jesus if he was speaking. He had long hair, he wore no shoes, and he was homeless.
And they didn't in those days either.
There you go. And they didn't, and then that's my warning to the current conservative news media base. The ratings are going down because of a basis of a conservatism. Jesus wasn't listened to in the holy days, but his truth rang out all the way up until today. Okay, but his base message did come out. Sure, it's been distorted somewhat, but it sure did change the world. This is a movement that's changing the world at light speed. They're just not catching up to it. They're not focusing.
Are you a Christian?
Me?
Yes.
I was raised a devout Baptist in Kamloops in the 1970s, and in Salmon Arm after that. My dad is still with us, and he's very active in the church.
Okay, thank you. So, what does your group specifically want to change in Kelowna?
Wow. I don't know, we've started with homelessness, eh?
Yeah, we're starting working on the homeless issue. We're also looking at the social housing issue as well. We intend to present legislation to City Council on a proposal we come up with to get real estate developers to develop more low-cost housing for people that people can afford rather than high-end real estate as well. We're also working on our own social outreach program to help people that are falling through the cracks and aren't being serviced by the existing resources that are here in Kelowna.
Okay.
Yeah, getting a solution, a real on-the-ground, on-the-street solution is what we're
Practical,
interested
concrete
in.
things, eh?
Yeah, look at the Conservative government and the Animal Pasket, okay? They're standing around talking about, well, what is our budget and what's the best way to do this, and people are still freezing out in the cold. Right now in Kelowna, there's 1,500 people freezing in the cold. There's 1,500 homeless. We're over 1% of the population is homeless.
There's
And
400 beds.
Yeah, we have 400 beds or 400 meals a day. That means 1,100 people are going hungry every night in Kelowna, in our city, our beautiful city. That's a crime against society. It's a crime against the people who pay taxes. And then we have a $7 million park project. $7 million for Knox Mountain Park and 1,500 homeless. We are our brother's keeper, and this is one thing that I'm stressing right now. And that's what we're working the basis on. We are responsible for what's going on because of the massive irresponsibility shown by government and local societies, especially churches. Okay? And I'm going to say that one straight up. I am not impressed with the church community in Kelowna at all. A crime like 1,500 people going homeless when we have 25,000 people going to church every Sunday. 25,000 people going to church every Sunday, locking those church doors at the end of an hour and leaving those homeless out to die. I'm offended. When that little statistic came out and I put 2 and 2 together, I saw that we need real solutions. So now we have a bus. We have a bus to deliver food. We have a kitchen to cook food in. We have volunteers to man the bus, and we've got the ability to start feeding people. Now it costs about $1.25 a person. So our realistic budget to run the bus is $1,000 a day just in food, with probably another 20 man hours in order to create that food. Okay, to 20 to 25 man hours per day. So you can see that we've got a fairly large task in front of us.
So you have some very concrete, specific things that you're focusing on right now.
Absolutely.
So, tell us about, well, we've kind of already answered this one. I was going to ask you about telling me more about the makeup of the Occupy Kelowna participants. And you spoke about senior citizens, people in the 45-year range, young people, and so on.
Yeah.
So I think we can skip over that question.
Sure.
I was wondering if the group was represented by all parts of the socioeconomic continuum.
Yeah.
And so what I'm hearing is, yes, that
Yes,
they
it
are.
is.
Is that right?
Well, the actual society itself, the people who've agreed to sign on to the society
Yes.
to submit for registration, that represents everyone from 21 to
Yeah, to me,
60.
I know David's the oldest, eh?
Or is Wes?
Yeah,
Sorry, Wes?
Wes.
Okay. But, okay, so we've got everyone from 21 all the way up to senior citizen, and we won't ask, but they're a little bit older. I guess as a median age, probably about 40.
Wow. Okay. Tell me, what does the phrase "the 99% mean?
I tried to answer that question once. Do you want to take a stab at it?
Well, what is partly meant is 99% of the people that whose wealth is being stripped away from them by the wealthy elite, 1%. Actually, it's a smaller number than that. It's the 0.0001% who really control all the wealth that's out there.
Yeah.
But it's just a mass movement of the people that are finally waking up to the huge wealth and equity that exists. And I think maybe the 1% may be a little concerned with the way this movement is growing, because they seem to be attacking them like both physically and through the news media as well, and trying to discredit the whole movement. And the 99% believe that this is far too important for not just the future, our concerns now, but the future of humanity, because the way the 1% is operating, it's not working. I mean, we're destroying our environment at an ever-increasing pace. We're destroying the economy. I mean, they keep talking about the Eurozone crisis, and they keep trying to prop it up. But the more they keep propping it up, the more damage is going to be done when the economy finally crashes.
See, the 99%, you're not looking for 99% of the people to hit the streets, which is going to occur, okay? You know, we've seen it in every revolution in history. Eventually, everybody just gets fed up with what's going on. But we can see it happening way faster now than we've ever seen it before. I would say that for sure. But a lot of people think that the 99% represent 99% of the people hitting the streets. No, the 99% means we're speaking for the 99%.
We're representing them, is that what you're saying?
We're representing those people who cannot speak for themselves. And many people who don't realize that they're being victimized right now by the way the country is being run, or run into the ground, by the 1% who's ignoring the benefits of the general population.
Who are the 1%?
Okay, if you take a look at it, okay, I'm calling it for what it is.
Loyalty?
We have an established, almost feudal system happening on the planet right now. We have major corporations that don't pay taxes, and we have the banks that prop them up. A bank right now in Canada does not pay taxes, and they fund warfare, but they will not fund social services. Now you take a look at that, it's just like Kelowna. A bank will fund $7 million for a park, but it won't fund $7 million to help 1,500 homeless people. That's what we're talking about in an imbalance and what we can solve here on a municipal level or on a national level.
And what do you believe is the motivation behind not funding in the way that you would hope they would be funding?
Greed and control. All we've seen is that if they make a profit, they think that that's a good thing. Well, it's a good for them, sure, and they've got whole mass media to put that out, but it's not a good thing for us. Every time you see the NASDAQ or you see any of the stock markets go up, monopolization has occurred on a wider basis, and that's not a benefit to society. So what we're looking at is a paradigm shift on what's good for humanity as opposed to what's not good. Bankers and the military profiting, prison industrial complex profiting is not good for society. People getting fed and having homes is good for society.
Should we not have the military?
Well, we're 30 million people who do not have a military to control our own borders, but we're going overseas. Okay, logic. We have more issues with our own sovereignty right here in Canada than worrying about extending power. Do we need a military? Sure. I think we need a military.
However, I do not see any benefit in our troops serving at the behest of the corporations.
The oil interests. Okay, and that's what we're talking about. If you take a look over at Libya, the lies that led to war. If you watch the W5, CBC, one of my favorite stations, the lies that led to war lay out how the oil war over in the Middle East occurred, and the weapons of mass destruction, all of that nonsense that we heard. We know it was a great big oil grab. Why are our soldiers risking their lives for American profit? I believe in a strong military. I believe in a strong RCMP, a strong police force. But warriors led in the wrong direction. We cannot condemn those warriors led in the wrong direction for having atrocities like Afghanistan and the torture victims, Canada's involvement. I'm sure those soldiers or those security officers who are strong individuals who have strong devotions didn't expect that their efforts would be distorted in such a manner. Okay, but we need these people, but we need them guided in the correct direction. But I don't think that we need fighters that have a limited range capacity in a country this large. Okay, we don't need submarines that don't float. We need health care. We need senior care.
So basically what you're saying is, look, well, we do need the military, we do need protection and governance in our country.
Yes.
However, we need it to be done in a wise manner and to have a focus on the needs of the people. Is that basically what you're
That's
saying?
right.
Yes.
Our military can serve the people, and we can be proud about it.
Do you feel that the 1% are listening?
No,
What tells you that?
they're not changing legislation right now. We still have 1,500 homeless in Kelowna. We have 300,000 homeless in Canada, and that's just the beginning of the atrocities. Things like the Andawa-Pasket, the native band over there and in Quebec. The fact that we don't have regulations over banks and our savings. You know, that people who worked hard their entire lives can see their savings wiped right out with no, there's no justice involved with that. Have we seen change? Have we seen them change a law? In America, have we seen the leaders of Goldman Sachs or Standard & Poor's be jailed for their involvement with the scandals that, surrounding the derivatives and the risky mortgages? Okay. Have we seen the Bank of Canada take to task the Harper government for wasting $50 billion in stimulus packages and not creating any jobs?
So your answer is no, they're not listening.
No.